Las Grandes Aguas of Luis Espota is a Mexican novel that is set between the decades of 1940 and 1950. Before going into more detail, it's important to mention that there is an adaptation of this novel to TV, but later I will give my opinions in about it. First of all, I will talk about the main characters of the work. First, we have Carlos Rivas, an engineer who believes he's an irreproachable man. This until he meets Mara. Then we have Lina, who is the wife of Carlos and mother of their son. Then we have Carlitos, son of Lena and Carlos. Has an important role since thanks to him, his father was able to meet Mara. Also we have Xiomara or Mara, the Arabita, daughter of Simon Curry and lover of Carlos. She is the cause of many worries of Carlos, and finally we have Simon Curry, owner of the bar where the workers go to drink and father of Mara. The story begins when a dynamite truck is about to explode when Engineer Rivers leads him to the waters of the Silly River, the scene of this story. When he gets home, his wife Lena and his son Carlitos receive him with the news of that Lena's sister and her husband Guillermo go to visit them. Once the visits arrive, seeing the situation of Carlos, Guillermo suggests going to live in the city where he could earn more money for a lot less work than the one in the play. However, Carlos refuses and says he is happy with his life, although Lena does not share the thought. Within the camp, the main rule is not to drink alcohol. However, there have already been cases where this rule is broken. Agustin Cobian, the apparent person in charge of these situations, comes with Carlos to search an agreement where both benefit, which Carlos rejects and returns angry to his house. But soon after he realizes that all this is the work of Simon Curry, so he decides to visit him in his famous bar. On the way, he remembers that Carlitos had asked him for a spider monkey, so when he sees one in a tree, he decides to pursue him, which leads him to meet a beautiful woman, but totally naked. This woman turns out to be Xiomara, famous among the workers for her beauty. Rivas decides to return to the camp, but decides to return the next day to talk to Curie. But once at the bar, the same woman he had seen the previous day offers a glass of liquor. Without realizing, Carlos has sex with her, and when he realizes that this woman is the daughter of his enemy, he decides to return home with Lena. However, Xiomara goes to visit him constantly to the work, which causes internal problems in Carlos. Finally, Simon Curie and Carlos have the long-awaited discussion, in which Curie reveals to Carlos that he finally found his weakness. For Curie, Carlos' weakness is his daughter Xiomara. He tries to blackmail him, but Carlos returns to the work. Days later, the workers inform Carlos that they have found the body of a woman next to the trunk in the river. The woman turns out to be Xiomara. Carlos is shocked. Days later, he receives the visit of Curie, who tells him to return to his native Lebanon. Carlito's health deteriorates to a critical point, which leads Lena to disappear and leads her to go in the middle of the rain to look for medicine next to the doctor of the camp, cross rivers, and finally get the medicine. Carlos refuses to go, as he preferred to supervise the work. The return of the firewood, it was too late. Carlitos had died. The news devastated the entire camp, so they decided to go out to bury the dam. And so concludes the story. In my opinion, this work has a lot of message because it shows that nobody is faultless, that we all have a weakness, that nobody is perfect. Because after all, we are human, and we do not have to be afraid of that. See us as such. I also consider that an adaptation of TV or the cinema could never match a book, since the smell of paper is something unique and also the book allows us to play our imagination.